welcome to today's training video on discomfort. So there's this idea in the coaching world that we call discomfort on purpose. And it's very interesting, and it's one of the reasons that I actually became a life coach was this concept, because it's so clear and understandable and it's so rational that I'm like, oh my God, this makes so much sense. I might as well go after what I want instead of playing it small. So in life, you're going to experience discomfort. There's this rule I talked about on the first training video. You can look, it's in the very first video on my YouTube series if you search my name. And it's called the 50-50 rule. And what that pretty much says is that life's always going to have uncomfortable emotions in it and comfortable emotions, right? There's always going to be negative and positive. And that's just the duality of life. That's how it exists. Without the good, we don't have the bad, vice versa, right? So there's this idea that you're going to go through life and you're going to have discomfort. And there's two different kinds of discomfort. There's discomfort that we avoid. I call it like unintentional, not on purpose discomfort. And then there's discomfort that we create voluntarily in order to create the life that we want. Now, so many people are living in lives that they hate. They're at jobs that they don't like. They're like under-earning. They are in relationships they actually don't want to be a part of. They're people-pleasing all the time. And they're doing these things because they want a false sense of comfort, right? The reason that we stay in a job we hate is because we want to feel secure, even though in reality, staying in a job we hate is not a secure option at all. The reason we stay in relationships we're not happy in is because we feel safe, we feel comfortable, we feel like a moderate amount of happiness and overall well-being in the relationship, and we're not willing to risk that sense of comfort to go out for something better. The reason we people please is the same thing. We want to feel like the other person is under our control, like we can control what they think about us. We want to feel like we are in control of that situation. So we live in lives that we're really unhappy in, and we play it really small, and the reason we do it is to try to avoid discomfort. But what ends up happening is we create way more discomfort along the way trying to avoid it. And I call this the paradox of negative emotion, right? And it's a paradox because the more that we try to avoid negative emotion, the more we create it in our lives. And what ends up happening is we're literally stuck in lives that we absolutely hate, all for a false sense of comfort, but we're creating so much uncomfortable emotions every day through our day-to-day that it's really not worth it if we think about it logically. Now, the other option is to go after the thing that you want. And I am going to create a whole course on this, but in general, I think that people don't have a knowing issue. They know what they want in general. They have a issue actually deciding and listening to their emotions moving forward because it's scary. So in order to avoid the fear that comes with living an amazing life, where you're actually starting a business, going after your dreams, like going and asking the people out that you actually want to date, saying no when it's appropriate, even though it's kind of uncomfortable, setting boundaries and honoring them. The reason they don't do that is because they want to avoid this little bit of uncomfortable emotions that comes with doing those things. But in the process of avoiding the uncomfortable emotions like fear and potential rejection, we create lives where we just literally hate ourselves. And this is like the uncomfortable emotions that have to be felt either way. So the idea in life coaching is that you're going to feel uncomfortable emotions either way. You're going to feel really uncomfortable in a life that you hate, that's really small, where you're not going after what you want. And you're definitely going to feel uncomfortable emotions in a life that's big, where you are going after what you want. But when you choose to feel discomfort on purpose and actually go after the life you want, then the result is you actually get the life you want. And you become someone courageous enough to feel your uncomfortable emotions. And when you learn how to feel your uncomfortable emotions, you create the life you want. You put yourself into situations voluntarily that are uncomfortable. You make offers. You go ask people out. You actually decide on the dream you want and you go after it. You're going to feel uncomfortable either way. I promise you. So do you want to have comfort that's false, that creates a life that you hate, and still feel a ton of discomfort? Or do you want to choose voluntarily and courageously to accept some discomfort in your life and decide what you want and go out courageously into the world, chasing your dreams? The worst possible thing that can happen to you in your life is an emotion. And right now, if you're not living the life you want, it's because you're trying to avoid a lot of uncomfortable ones. And in the process, you're creating so many more than you would be creating if you decided what you want and went after the life that was amazing for you. And the exercise below will take 2 seconds. It's just called the most uncomfortable emotion. And the whole point behind it is like, what's the most uncomfortable emotion you can feel? And then tell me how it feels. And then the question is that emotion worth not going after the life you want? Thank you so much. I'll see you in the next video.